Four types of quality cost and explain how environmental cost and how can it be measured and reduced. Quality. It is the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs revolving around the customer. The quality product is the collection of all the features and characteristics of a product that contribute to its ability to meet the customer's need and requirements. So, the quality product is the ability of the product to fulfill what the end user or what the customer wants and perceives as value. Customer expectations. So these are the feelings, the needs, the wants, and the ideas that customers have towards certain products or services. Quality specifications. These are the detailed requirements that define the quality of a product, service, or process. The quality of conformance. It is a concept of to calculate the degree of completion of the product. So when it talks about quality of conformance, it is a ability of the product or service to meet its specific and ultimate design. A defective product can be defined as any product that is unreasonably dangerous when being used for its intended purposes, without any alterations or interference. Zero defects means that all products conform to specifications. What is cost of quality? So the cost of quality is a methodology used to define and measure where and what amount of an organization's resources are being used for prevention activities and maintaining product quality, as opposed to the costs resulting from internal and external failures. So, what is cost of quality? So when we talk all about the cost of quality, it is a methodology that used or to define and measure where and what amount of an organization's resources are being used for the prevention activities, for maintaining the product qualities, to oppose the cost resulting from the internal and external failures. So why do we need to implement the cost of quality? So we need to implement the cost of quality so that the effective use and implementation of cost of quality methodology enables an organization to accurately measure the amount of resources being used for the cost of good quality, for the cost of poor quality. So with this valuable information, the organization can determine where to allocate the resources to improve the product quality and the bottom line. So the control activities. So these are the policies, the procedures implemented to help ensure the management directives are carried out. So when we talk all about the control activities, these are made up of prevention and appraisal activities. Failure activities. So it is performed by an organization or its customers in response to poor quality. So if the response to poor quality occurs before the delivery of a product to a customer, the activities are classified as internal failure activities. Otherwise, they are classified as external failure activities. So what are the four categories of quality cost? First, the prevention cost. So these are the link to the quality initiatives performed for the purpose of avoiding to prevent the potential defects and malfunction in the future. This includes all proactive and planned activities organized by the organization to improve the overall quality system. So the examples are the investments in quality, training, the developing quality teams, the better product development and evaluation, the process improvements, the planning and strategy, development, and the standardization, and etc. So the prevention costs are the cost to prevent the potential defects and malfunction in the future. So It is a before the products will go to the customer. Next. So the appraisal cost. These are the costs involved in performing various tests, evaluations, assessments, audits, calibration, vendor control, and various process analysis with the purpose of managing high quality and minimizing the non-conformance. So when we talk all about the appraisal cost, these costs are the purpose of these costs are to manage the high quality and to minimize the non-conformance. The examples are incoming material inspections, the process controls, the check fixtures, the quality audits, the supplier assessments. And then the internal failure cost, these are the types of costs include the cost which can be avoided if there were no product or service defects before they were delivered to the customers. So this means taking care of internal issues and making sure high quality products are shipped to the customer. So when we talk all about the internal failure cost, it is the cost before they were delivered to the customer. The example are excessive scrap, product rework, waste due to poorly designed processes, machine breakdown due to improper maintenance, the cost associated with the failure analysis. So, the internal failure cost is when the company within the internal or before the customers receive the product. Next is the external failure cost. So these are the costs associated with defects or non-conformance in the products and services after they were delivered to the customer. So these are the costs associated with defects found after the customer receives the product or service. And contradict to the internal failure cost, the external failure cost is after the customer receives the product or services. It is the defects found after the customer receives the product or the service. The example are service and repair costs, the warranty claims, the customer complaints, the product or material returns, incorrect sales orders, incomplete BOMs, the shipping damage due to inadequate packaging. Those are the examples of external failure cost. So next is the environmental cost. So it means cost incurred in connection with acquiring and maintaining all environmental permits and licenses for the product and the product's compliance with all applicable environmental laws, rules, and regulations. So the environmental costs are those costs incurred within the connection with the maintaining or acquiring the environmental permits, the licenses, and to the environmental laws, rules, and regulations. So, eco-efficiency. So, it refers to the strategies implemented to maximize the efficiency of production processes while minimizing the negative impact on the environment. So, eco-efficiency is a strategy that we must implement so that we can maximize the efficiency of our product and then to minimize the negative impact to the environment. So what are the 4 categories of environmental cost? Environmental prevention costs. These are the cost of activities carried out to prevent the production of contaminants or waste that could cause damage to the environment. So when we talk all about the environmental prevention cost, it is the cost before the production or to prevent the production of contaminants or waste that could damage the environment. Environmental detection cost. So these are the cost activities executed to determine if the products, processes, and other activities within the firm are in compliance with appropriate environmental standards. So when we talk about environmental detection cost, so these are the cost of activities when we determine if the products, if the processes are within the appropriate environmental standards. Next is the environmental internal failure cost. So these are the cost of activities performed because contaminants and waste have been produced but not discharged into the environment. Thus, internal failure costs are incurred to eliminate and manage contaminants or waste once produced. While the environmental internal failure costs, these are the costs when um, contaminants and waste are produced but not yet discharged to the environment. Next is the environmental external failure cost. So these are the cost of activities performed after discharging contaminants and waste into the environment. So the external failure cost can be subdivided into, first, the realized external failure cost. So it is the cost or that are incurred and paid for by the firm. So it is the external failure cost that paid for by the firm. Next is the unrealized external failure cost. It is caused by the firm but are incurred and paid for by parties outside the firm. While the realized external failure cost is paid by the firm, while the unrealized external failure cost is paid for by parties outside the firm. So the societal cost can be further classified as those resulting from environmental degradation and those associated with an adverse impact in the property or welfare of individuals. In either case, the costs are borne by others and not by the firm, even though the firm causes them. So when we talk all about the unrealized external cost, these are the societal costs, and then to be classified as the two classifications, which are the resulting from the environmental degradation and then with the associated with the adverse impact on the property or welfare of individuals. So the environmental cost reduction. So how can we reduce our environmental cost? So we need to invest more in prevention and detection activities and can bring about a significant reduction in environmental failure cost. Environmental costs appear to behave in much the same way as quality cost. The lowest environmental costs are attainable at the zero damage point, much like the zero defects point of the total quality cost model. Thus, an eco-efficient solution would focus on prevention with the usual justification that prevention is cheaper than the cure. Analogous to the total quality management model, zero damage is the lowest cost point for environmental cost. So we can reduce our environmental cost when there is no when we talk about that where there is no zero damage point, or we can attain it by attainable at the zero damage point. It is like the quality cost. We can easily reduce the qualities of the defects when we have no defects at all. So we have the saying that prevention is cheaper than the cure. So when we analogous to the total quality management model, zero damage is the lowest cost point for environmental cost. So that's how we can reduce our environmental cost. So these are my the report for today's video.